Hello, namaste, sat sri akal. Welcome to our Love, Laugh and Live show.
प्यार करो ते हंसो ते जुग जुग जियो वाला शो सो शो शुरू करने तो पहला मैं पहला कहना है तो जीना है तो ऐसे जिए जीना है तो ऐसे जिए हर सोच में प्यार शांत खुशबू आवे so ਇਹਦਾ ਮਤਲਬ ਹੈਗਾ let's live our lives with thoughts full of love laughter and joy.
Yeah.
So I'm going to introduce myself. मेरा नाम है दविंदर, लोग call me Dav Obi, and I'm a spiritual life coach. And मेरे नाल बैठी मेरे lovely beautiful co-host. Introduce yourself.
My name is Gurdial Garcha, and I'm a resilience and empowerment coach. So yeah, welcome to our Love, Laugh and Live show. I hope you enjoy it today.
I hope so too. And so Gurdial, आज का topic क्या है?
So आज ਦਾ topic ਹੈਗਾ healing. So we're talking about healing. ਜਿਹੜੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਪਿਛਲੇ shows ਸੀਗੇ, we had about 7 shows and we're going to go over each of those topics. But in terms of healing, ਕਿ ਮਤਲਬ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਸਾਡੇ show ਕੀਤੇ ਸੀਗੇ, ਅਸੀਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਬਾਰੇ ਸੋਚਣਾ ਵੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਟੌਪਿਕਾਂ ਤੋਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਨਿਕਲ ਸਕਦੇ in a good way. So we're healing ourselves.
Yes. So and the topics we did was, I remember was we did self-abandonment, insecurity ਸੀਗਾ, ਇੱਕ ਸੀਗਾ procrastination, anger ਸੀਗਾ, blessing in disguise. I mean, just these ਮਿੱਠਾ ਲੱਗਣਾ ਕੋਈ ਪਾਣੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੈ ਨਾ. There's joy, there's energy. These I think they're the main topics. ਅਸੀਂ ਇਸ topics ਬਾਰੇ ਅਸੀਂ discuss ਕੀਤਾ ਸੀਗਾ, what it means, how it shows up in our lives. So ਅੱਜ the topic ਹੈਗਾ that how we can find the healing in those situations. So I thought that we're going to go more in depth, and it's good to have the awareness of these things, how they play out in our lives, but it's nice to know how we can heal and actually break free from those limitations. And and that quote you were saying earlier on.
So healing doesn't mean the damage never existed. It means the damage no longer controls your life. So just bear that in mind. ਉਹਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸੋਚੋ ਵੀ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਔਖਾ ਟਾਈਮ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਹੋਇਆ ਸੀਗਾ ਵੀ ਇਹਦਾ ਮਤਲਬ ਇਹ ਨਹੀਂ ਵੀ ਉਹ ਹੋਇਆ ਨਹੀਂ ਉਹ ਹੈਗਾ ਪਰ ਉਹਦਾ ਫਿਰ ਥੋੜਾ ਜਿਹਾ ਚੇਂਜ ਹੋ ਕੇ you've learned something from it and you've come out the other side.
Yes.
And that's the kind of meaning I'm kind of taking from it.
Yeah, so healing really means like it doesn't control us. ਜਿਹਦੇ ਪਿੱਛੇ ਸਾਰੇ ਹਾਲਤ ਸੀਗੇ, we had a way of thinking or behaving or just reacting, ਹੈ ਨਾ. They don't need to control us anymore. So that's the healing, that we can break free or ਛੱਡ ਸਕਦੇ, let go of that old way of living, ਹੈ ਨਾ. So the healing is, they don't control us anymore, and we can start living a new way of life. And so and everybody's got different ways of understanding what healing means to them, because it depends ਉਹ ਕਿੱਥੇ ਆਪਣੀ journey ਵਿੱਚ, and no one's wrong, ਕੋਈ ਗਲਤ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗਾ. And ਜਿੱਥੇ ਬੰਦੇ ਦੀ ਸੋਚੀ ਹੈ ਉਹਦੀ healing ਉਹਦੇ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਉਹ ਸਹੀ ਹੋਣੀ ਹੈ. It doesn't mean it's going to be the right way of healing for the other person. So everybody's just perfect ਜਿੱਥੇ ਹੈਗੇ ਆ. So I'd like to know what of all you've been through, all your life experiences, so how do you define healing now?
Well, in the dictionary it kind of says, in summary, healing was defined in terms of developing a sense of wholeness, personal wholeness, that involves physical, mental, emotional, social and spiritual aspects of human experiences. So that's the meaning, like if you look at it in the dictionary. But what does healing mean to you?
I mean, like I said, it's just the meaning of healing has changed. If you asked me this question 10 years ago, I would different meaning dasni sigi. So every time I've learned something new through my challenges, I've learned everything through my challenges and all my problems and issues, crises, and every time I learn something, my meaning of healing has changed. So today is completely different. So today I would say, like, healing means to me like letting go of thinking that there's something wrong with me. Because if somebody says I need healing, that means I need healing because I need to improve some aspect of my life. I need to let go of this way of thinking about myself, my story, my relationship with people, and I need to improve. It's all about I need to improve. So that's coming from a belief that why would somebody want to improve? They only want to improve that because they believe there's something wrong about them, something they don't like about them. Well, what if I allow myself with the energy of unconditional love, that who we are, that what if I'm perfect as I am with my flaws, with my imperfections, and if this is how God in me want to experience life with my problem, because that's the only way I can have an experience, or what if that doesn't need healing, and what if I just accept them and being this is okay. So this is how much my definition of healing has changed, you know. But I always used to think I need to be better, I need to be more this or that, so I can be more, enjoy life more. Or what if I enjoy my life just thinking I am okay just the way I am? So this is how much it's changed,
Yeah, I mean, I've got a different take on it. But मेरी सोचने जड़ी healing body, it's obviously I respect, totally understand where you're coming from. But for me, it's about जड़ियाँ पुराने ख्याल या जो तुसी सोचते सीगे भी ऐदा नहीं होना चाहिए, ऐदा होना चाहिए. So it's about letting things go, but also नाले तुसी छड्डना या, but you're also accepting yourself. So it's a bit of a quandary or paradox, really, if you think about it. Because you're letting go, but you're also kind of accepting who you are in your current state. So similar to what you're saying, but also different. To me, it's like shedding an old sin. Jida sap nahi hunda, jida ਉਹ ਆਪਣਾ mask ਛੱਡ ਕੇ ਚਲ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਆ, and then for ਹੋਰ ਨਵੀਂ skin ਹੁੰਦੀ. So it's almost like a rebirth.
It is.
But it's also about letting old habits go, or friends or people who don't serve you. ਵੀ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਲੋਕ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਲਾਈਫ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੈਗੇ ਪਰ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਕੋਈ ਜਾਂ ਕੋਈ ਫਾਇਦਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗਾ, ਪਰ ਜਾਂ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਨੁਕਸਾਨ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ, ਉਹਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਵੀ ਸੋਚਣਾ ਪੈਣਾ ਵੀ to let them go. ਕਰਕੇ ਜੇ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਲਾਈਫ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਤੰਗੀਆਂ ਹੈਗੀਆਂ ਪਰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਚੂਜ਼ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਆ ਵੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਆਪਣੀ ਲਾਈਫ 'ਚ ਰੱਖਣਾ ਕਿ ਨਹੀਂ, ਪਰ you have to find the strength to let these people go. It's not easy. ਅਸੀਂ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਵੀ ਕਈ ਵਾਰੀ ਰਿਸ਼ਤੇਦਾਰ friend family ਛੱਡਣੀ ਨਹੀਂ, ਆਪਾਂ ਇਦਾਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਵੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਛੱਡੋ ਜਾਂ ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਵੀ ਹੈਗਾ, ਪਰ you can still decide ਵੀ ਕਿੰਨਾ ਕੁ ਟਾਈਮ ਮੈਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨਾਲ spend ਕਰਨਾ ਆ, to look at, and it's all about boundaries as well, isn't it?
At the end of the day, choose the healing, go with thoda method howe, kuch bhi howe, as long as you feel peace, harmony and love for yourself and love for the others. It doesn't matter which method you use, and everybody can have a different ways, but as long as at the end of it tusi thone man nu shant mile, and you feel love for yourself and love and respect for others as well.
And it's about honouring yourself. We tusi apne pehla ijat karni hai, before you respect other people, you respect yourself, and you manage karna apna time bhi tusi kidda spend karna hai. So everything comes back to you. So that's the most important thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, the next one we were going to talk about was, about how you were going to tell me about forgiveness, because all of this kind of links in with
I think,
doesn't it?
Yeah, I think healing and forgiveness goes together, and but some people just don't understand the importance of forgiveness. Kisi nu maaf karna, but kisi nu maaf karna, but apne aap nu maaf karna. And because once we do that, the maafi de vich and through that experience, we can really start having such a beautiful life, and not just the life you have with yourself and everybody else. And the importance of forgiveness on our, like I said, on our physiology and on our health, everything.
Mental health.
So I think the healing and forgiveness has to be together. And I can give you an example, Jita. Because I train myself as a kinesiologist. That means muscle testing, so I can get because what it means is that whatever we're thinking, ਉਹੀ ਸੋਚ instantly ਸਾਡੇ ਸ਼ਰੀਰ ਨੂੰ impact ਕਰਦਾ. So you have a good thought, so you have a good thought, or ਸਾਡਾ ਸ਼ਰੀਰ ਸਖਤ and strong ਰਹਿੰਦਾ. But every time we have a negative thought, or a story or a memory or something, that has a negative impact. ਸਾਡੇ ਸ਼ਰੀਰ ਕਮਜ਼ੋਰ ਹੋਈ ਜਾਊਗਾ over time, and stress builds up. So kinesiology, I could show you if you want to do a demonstration. So it's like I can through muscle testing. If you put your arm up for me, So if you can just keep it a bit taut with a bit of resistance, You got resistance there? Okay. So now I'm going to puchungi, I'll think of a very like a memory where there's hurt and sadness, anger, gussa, anything you're holding on that makes you feel very upset inside. And let me know when you thought of it and you feel the
I've thought of it.
Okay, all right. Okay, so I'm going to see. देखो हम जब मैं सोचती हूँ ना, एकदम मेरे muscle weak हो गया. मैं एक उंगली दे नाल है ना. Can you notice what's happening? Yeah. So now open your eyes. Now I want you to think of a very happy, joyful, forgiving, just a peaceful memory.
Okay.
Okay, keep it. So tell me when you're ready in that place.
I'm ready.
Okay. So ਹੁਣ ਦੇਖੋ ਮੈਂ ਨਾ ਜੋਰ ਲਾਉਂਦੀ, ਮੈਂ ਸਾਰਾ ਹੱਥ ਵੀ ਲਾਉਂਦੀ, but ਇਹਦੀ ਬਾਂਹ ਮੇਰੇ ਨੀਚੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੁੰਦੀ. How is this happening?
I don't know.
your thinking, your thoughts, your memories, instantly it has an impact on your physiology. So happy thoughts, forgiving thoughts, किसी ਨੂੰ माफ करना, अपने आप ਨੂੰ माफ करना, थोड़ा शरीर सख्त and strong हो जाता. So every time ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਿਸੇ ਬਾਰੇ बुरा सोचें, gossip करते हैं, कुछ भी करते हैं, सारे उदों ही असर पै जाता शरीर ते. We start becomes weak, सारा immune system weak हो जाता. This is our body. It's like he said, it's God, it's consciousness. So हमेशा through symptoms, it's telling us ਅਸੀਂ ਕਿਦਾਂ ਦੇ ਅਸੀਂ सोच they are, you know, what quality of thoughts and emotions and feelings we're having, because those emotions and feelings ਸਾਡੇ ਅਸਰ ਪੈਂਦਾ. So forgiveness means that ਜਦੋਂ ਅਸੀਂ forgive ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਕਿਸੇ ਨੂੰ, ਆਪਣੇ ਨੂੰ forgive, why are we forgiving ourselves? We're forgiving ourselves. ਅਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਨੂੰ ਤਾਂ ਮਾਫ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ because we're letting go of the old grudges and negative stories and you know, all those memories. I'm letting go that joke मेरा कुछ किता, I'm just letting go, I'm forgiving it, because if I don't forgive ਮੈਨੂੰ नुकसान होता ਮੈਨੂੰ ਕੀ फायदा मिलता बार-बार सोची जाऊं मैं ऐसा किता उन्होंने किता.
And I think that's what happens when, you know, that's why people become ill. You know, when a situation happens, कोई भी family ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕੋਈ trouble ਹੋਵੇ ਨਿਆਣਿਆਂ ਨਾਲ, with ourselves or anything, straight away your body tells you, doesn't it?
That's right.
You get headaches, you get stomach aches. Your body's telling you that you're not in alignment, you're not happy with the situation. So that's automatic. Your physiology, your body, your mental health, everything is having an impact. Because it's not something it doesn't feel good about, you know, whatever that outside external situation is.
Exactly.
So I totally understand.
This is so good to just bring people into awareness that सोच, it doesn't take you know, it doesn't take 5 minutes later or 10 days later or घंटे बाद थोड़ी कोई चीज़ को असर पैंदा, उदो ही पै जाता. उदो ही तुसी सोचते हैं उसे वाले जरा से कमज़ोर हो सकता है और सख्त strong हो सकता है. It depends तुसी की सोच रहे हैं.
I mean, then we were going to talk about, you know, like self-abandonment.
That's one of our topics, was self-abandonment, insecurity, and how we can bring healing into that.
I mean, for me, self-abandonment, again, it does go back to honouring yourself and, you know, letting go of relationships and things like that which don't serve you. And it's also about not being a doormat, you know, respecting yourself and thinking, you know, the way this person maybe looks at me, talks to me, or disrespects me, you know, I need to be able to find the strength, the courage to be able to say that, you know, I'm not comfortable with this. Sometimes you don't even have to say anything. You just naturally maybe kind of back away. And my philosophy is, you know, you will find the courage. The courage is there, but it's about accepting that, you know, I wouldn't treat this person like this, so why allow that person to treat me? And that's where we abandon who we are.
That's
because we're so busy pleasing other people, and we kind of come at the bottom of the pile, and this takes, it's like a muscle again. We have to practice to become stronger in the way that we respect ourselves, honor ourselves. So this is where the healing comes in, you know, confidence and honoring who you are, your self-worth, and really being clear about who you are, where you are, and how you want people to see you, and that's where the healing comes. I mean, no, you've got something to tell us about the healing.
I mean, briefly, because we don't want to talk about the healing aspect of it, but self-abandonment, it starts from a very, very young age, you know, so all these behaviours that play out adults,
they're all learned,
they're all something we learned from, you know, our environment, from our caretakers, our parents, you know? So usually to the bacha is dunya che anda, it's coming from a place of love before it's coming to this world. So the first experience it has in the human form, you know, it's going to be defined as love. So that first experience, that it could have felt like its needs wasn't met. It left crying, and the parents probably seeing the parents squabbling and fighting with each other. So the parents, the child felt neglected. His needs weren't met. It just learned to be quiet and just keep away from all the drama, and just think it was safer not to, you know, ignite the situation more by asking for anything. So it starts to self-abandoning its needs and start to feel it wasn't important enough. And but the only way the child feels like safe in the world, because it feels I need to just suppress my needs and fulfill everybody else's needs. I just want my mom and dad to love me, you know? So it starts to learn just to, otherwise thinks the world is a hostile place.
Yeah.
So it feels like I just need to be quiet, I need not to say anything, and it thinks that it's not safe to trust anyone.
Yeah,
so these are all issues of self-abandonment. These are all issues of you feel insecurity. So the healing part is going to come into what's the opposite of self-abandonment, what's the opposite of insecurity. So where a child felt it needed to feel safe, it needed someone else's love, a parent's love. So in order, this is like a soul lesson. We all have a soul contract. So what is the child come into this world? What are we coming to this world to learn? So my lesson is, as on a soul level, that how I'm going to connect with myself. But how would I know how to connect with myself if I wasn't abandoned in the first place?
So that's looking at the comparisons.
So contrast. So it had the experience of self-abandonment, insecurity. So it knows how it feels that
in those situations,
but then it thinks, how can I actually grow and learn from this? So first it became codependency, and it dependent on someone else outside of itself to make it to feel safe, that this world is not a hostile place, to make me feel safe as a human species. But then it thinking, that's a very powerless place to live in. So it felt, now I need to connect with myself, connect with my God state. And that's where the healing comes. I don't need it from someone else. I'm going to start nurturing myself. The nurture I wanted from my parents, I'm going to start nurturing and valuing and honoring myself and become more self-reliant.
And this is what happens, isn't it, in any kind of relationship where people want validation from outside, and they don't realize that we have everything within us.
That's right, exactly. So that's you said that everything in our lives is just to us to grow and learn and just become better versions of, and it's a spiritual evolution, this whole evolution, I would call it. So that's self-abandonment, just to connect. That's
back
the healing
to ourselves, really. And that's the most important thing. And then we were going to talk, we mentioned joy in one of our programs, and how we can, work in a way that we create more joy for not just for ourselves, but everything and everyone around us. I mean, how do you think that works in terms of joy?
I mean, most of the times we don't realize, we take things for granted in life, but that's when something happens in our lives, we have a choice, that I could either think of this way or I can think of it that way, but which one brings me more joy? But we have a tendency always will focus on the lack and the missing of something and perceive it as something going wrong. But I would like to I remember this story you were telling me the other day about this cake. Was it cake ceremony you went to?
There was a party that we went to, and me and the family. This is a while ago. And there was this woman who'd come, and I will say some bits of it in Punjabi. ਘੰਟਾ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਇੱਥੇ ਆਉਂਦੀ ਨੂੰ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਰਾਹ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਸੀ ਕੁਝ ਹੋਰ ਤਾਂ ਮੈਂ ਇੱਥੇ ਘੁੰਮਦੀ ਰਹਿੰਦੀ ਸੀਗੀ ਘੰਟਾ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਪਹੁੰਚੀ ਨੂੰ ਇੱਥੇ ਤਾਂ ਮੇਰਾ ਕੇਕ ਸੈਰੇਮਨੀ ਮਿਸ ਹੋ ਗਈ ਸੋ ਦ ਪਰਸਨ ਦੈਟ ਸ਼ੀ ਮੈਟ ਜਿਹਨੂੰ ਉਹਨੇ ਫਿਰ ਮੋਰੇ ਮਿਲੀ ਸੀ ਸ਼ੀ ਸੈਡ ਚੱਲ ਹੋ ਪਹੁੰਚ ਤਾਂ ਗਈ ਠੀਕ ਠਾਕ ਆ ਗਈ so that was for me ਮੈਂ ਖੜੀ ਦੇਖਦੀ ਸੀਗੀ and I just thought it was so funny ਕਰਕੇ ਉਹ ਹਬੜੂ मेरा ऐदा होई पर जेड़ा मोरे टकरिया ओ कहंदी चल हो she said it so calmly and she said hasse पानी so that was her perspective भी life ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੁੰਦੀਆਂ ਆ ਉੱਚੀਆਂ ਨੀਵੀਆਂ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਹੁੰਦੀਆਂ ਆ ਪਰ ਸਾਡਾ ਵੀ ਫਰਜ਼ ਹੈਗਾ the way we react so do we say ਹਾਏ ਸੱਚੀ ਇਦਾਂ ਕਿਹਨੇ ਤੈਨੂੰ ਇਨਸਟਰਕਸ਼ਨ ਦਿੱਤੇ ਸੀ ਕਿਹਨੇ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਸੀ
you can make a big drama out of it
exactly ਮੈਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਪੁੱਛੂਗੀ ਇਹ ਤੇਰੇ ਕਰਕੇ ਫਲਾਨੀ ਲੇਟ ਹੋਈ ਆ you can say chal never mind
main thing to pahunch gayi hai na
ਤੁਸੀਂ ਪਹੁੰਚ ਗਏ ਤੇ ਠੀਕ ਠਾਕ so it's all about perspective
and that's what I'm saying how you think of things
so ਮੈਨੂੰ ਤਾਂ ਹਾਸਾ ਆਉਂਦਾ ਸੀਗਾ so I wasn't affected by it at all but ਜਦੋਂ ਹਬੜੂ ਮੈਂ ਇਦਾਂ ਹੋਈ so you just try and find the humor in the situation and that's just me as a bystander but the person who dealt with the situation she was so calm and lovely about it so the other person ਉਹਨੂੰ ਫਿਰ ਸੀਗਾ ਵੀ I can't say anything more now because she's not reacting whereas if she'd reacted in the other way then it would have been you know, like a really negative situation.
That's right, but you just find the humor in, and that's what joy brings.
Yeah.
Every situation we can make it into a unnecessary ugly drama, or we can just find humor in it, and that's how you can bring joy in. I can give you my experience. Like a few years ago, apne saheliyan, I was going on holiday abroad, and we sare airport, but there's quite a few of us at airport, and then I was all excited. Oh, we're going to go out with my friends, because going out with girls is much nicer, isn't it? Or girly stuff. And so flight delay ho gayi about 2 घंटे, and all the could oh no, oh dear, and they were khij frustrated, everything, thinking, and sort of hun ki karna, hun 2 घंटे yatte wait karna. I was thinking, you know, the main purpose was us to get together. That it doesn't matter where we are, airport te baithi, plane te baithi, or you know, another country te baithi. The purpose was us to get together and have fun. But we're together now, so why hun ko nahi aisi fun shuru kar sakte?
Utte jaake
kyun karna karna? You know, but it's just people. Some people were just either they feel they got let down, they're delayed, something triggered in them to thinking like it's not going my way how I planned it. But it doesn't. Sometimes you just got to find the humor in it, thinking, look, if it's about fun, we can have fun now. Fun doesn't start when we get to the destination. And
it's the journey.
It's a journey, isn't it? But I'm just saying, same with the situation, that if some people just for no reason would make a moment. The moment is the only time we can have fun. They're thinking, no, this is not the moment to have fun, and I'm going to have fun later on.
And if you think about joy, you know, joy, happiness, and you know, you can find that in every situation. Obviously, you know, where there's like, you know, really terrible things, that's a separate thing. But joy, we can find in anything. I mean, we sit together and we can find something funny about anything silly, and just creating that yourself and with other people. You know, it's like a ripple effect. So, you know, all I'm saying is that consciously find joy in whatever you're doing, and it can happen, but it's a conscious decision. It's always a choice.
And the healing in this is just changing your perspective and your thinking and meaning behind that situation, because like you said, at the end of the day, just aapne apne si dukhi kar deya, and aapne apne kamzor kar deya. Every time we start thinking negative, you know, what can we do if flight delay hogi? So we can't do anything about it. We've got control of that, but what are we in control of? How we're thinking and what we're feeling, because that's having an impact on our physiology, you know?
I mean, so joy, you know, to be joyful, to bring joy, to be, you know, to be around people who are joyful. Everybody is attracted by that person. If you go to a party or a function, you know, the person that's the happiest, everybody wants to. It's a bit like honey, isn't it? Everybody wants to be stuck to that person, because they are the people that lift everybody's mood up, no matter how you feel. So, you know, and everybody wants a part of that, don't they? So, you know, it's really important that we all consciously try and, you know, create more joy in our lives in order for that impact to take place.
So the next one we discussed was blessing in disguise, and that means and so for me, I think to find healing in that situation, example, I used to have a lot of health issues, and I could usually complain about it. Oh, I was all on this. It was so difficult, it was so tough, and this and that, you know. But then I saw the blessing in it, because through that I had to learn the deeper root cause of why these symptoms were happening to me, why these health issues are happening to me. So I found the blessing in my health, you know, issues. So it helped me to become more knowledgeable, more awareness that my correlation between my emotions and my symptoms, that, you know, and I got to know myself more on a spiritual level as well. As, you know, through my pain and my suffering, through my health, I got connected more on spirituality. So like I said, there's the healing is to find the gift in what we perceive as a pain or a challenge. And like I said, there's always some mithas in that bana, and that's where the healing is. And then sometimes if you can't find it in sometimes I just surrender, you know, I surrender this issue to you. Help me to find the awareness. What is the lesson and the healing in this? And then it comes to you that way as well. You know. So how would you perceive it as?
I think blessings in disguise are always happening, but it's a growth. It's you know, all of our journeys. There's always something where, you know, jado okha time honda hai assi kende bhi hi dakate ho gaye idda ho gaye, but when we've come through it to the other side, then we realize that, you know, actually जो कुछ भी होया ये मेरे फायदे लिए सी. But at the time जदों ਅਸੀਂ ਉਹ problem ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਆ, we don't realize that, you know what, you know, we don't want to be in a problem, but that is where the growth happens. You know, we're out of our comfort zone, we're having to face challenges that we wouldn't normally. But anyway, for me, you know, blessing in disguise, I mean, you know, I talk about my parents, you know, there was, you know, they had a volatile relationship, but for me, when I look back at that, you know, there were two victims. There wasn't just one victim. There was the perpetrator and the victim, but for me, they both needed help. And I think sometimes when we look at relationships where there is any kind of conflict, sanu hunda bhi jine jehda galt bolya bhi, that's their fault. They are the reason this whole situation happened. But really, both people need help, both people need compassion. So the blessing in all of that is to actually step back and think that both people need help. It's not a case of blaming one person and thinking that everything is to do with that person. Because in any situation where two people are involved, they have to take responsibility themselves. Behind me, you know, I'm maybe coming from a place of insecurity, maybe the other person's coming from a place of lack or jealousy, insecurity, whatever you want to call it. And when these two people get together and there's conflict, they don't see the problem anymore. All they're seeing is how they can outdo the other person. So there's the ego involved in all of this. And then when they come away, they realize that actually, you know, I didn't need to be like that, but this is my insecurity speaking more than the actual issue itself. Does that make sense?
But I think that blame takes you away from any healing. It's straight away.
It pushes it onto somebody else. And it means that you don't have to take any responsibility.
And ego, like you say, ego is another word for our programs and beliefs that, you know, sort of works on autopilot and just takes over the conscious awareness. But another word for ego I always think of is like edging God out, because it's like God is trying to teach us something through that, you know, experience, and the ego thinks that, you know, I want you to hold on to blame. It's safer for you to be, you know, hold on to those thoughts like people out there to get at you, and you keep your distance. But that's not healing, is it?
And it's judgment, isn't it?
It's judgment.
And when we judge people or situation or things, what we're doing is we're saying we're better than you, because you know, there's a hierarchy there. So you know, meri sochi thought to badhiya, rather than coming down and trying to understand the situation, what we're doing is we're creating a gap, and that's what happens. So the healing is really to self-reflect, think about what's going on. And everything, and to come from a place of compassion.
Absolutely, and that's who we are to our core essence as well. Compassion, unconditional love. That means there's no judgment. You know, and as soon as we judgment, we've separated ourselves from our true nature, God.
And you said, you know, everything outside is neutral.
And that's what I started realizing as well. That jo kuch sade baar aale hunda na is absolutely neutral. There's no right and wrong in it, and that means it's just safe. It's just very safe. But the meaning we put onto it, and the meanings the meanings coming from something that we learned how the world means to us, a relationship with ourselves, a relationship to others. So if you say the world is very unsafe, people are there not to be trusted, and then that's the meaning you put on that situation. But let's say you didn't have that belief. Maybe you thought the world is safe and the world, you can trust people, or same situation, the same conflict, you'll have a different experience of it.
Because then if you're thinking that the world is not safe, every single person you meet, you're going to have suspicion. Whereas I might be thinking, oh, the world's fine, everybody's okay. So when I go and meet new people, I'm going to be thinking, oh, you know what, it's fine, it's okay, and my life is going to be so much easier than yours, just by those separate different thoughts.
Unless somebody, I said, oh, that person looked at me in a really awkward, funny way, and you'll say, well, actually, I didn't notice. I think you look pretty, you know, quite, you know, kind and sweet.
But maybe he was looking at something else completely.
But you see, the meaning we're going to completely different, but situation the same. So that's what means. Sara kuch baar is neutral. safe.
पर ਅਸੀਂ सोचने जो कुछ ਅਸੀਂ सोचते जिथे तक जिथों साडी सोच आ जे साडा गुस्सा आ जां suspicion आ जां सानू डर लगदा है, then we're going to put those thoughts onto each of those situations.
That's right,
so if we come from a place of chalo theek hai, everything's fine, then that's how it will play out.
So once we change the meaning, and then that's where it is challenge like this, challenging like this, like this. Is when we change the meaning, we actually feel calmer and there's growth, and we find the lesson in it.
Yeah, definitely. So we were going to say procrastination. That's an interesting one. Procrastination the matlab jithe you feel maybe too scared koi bhi kam hoga bhi tusi chaਹੁੰਦੇ ਆ ਵੀ ਨਾ ਕਰੀਏ ਸੀ. So you keep yourself in a place of repetition के मतलब आ काम नहीं मैं करना करके ए मैं तो करनी होने करके मैं डरदी आ or stuff like that.
It's something start off शुरू कब मुकदा नहीं हैगा. Let's say start off, let's say going to the gym and एक दो हफ्ते के, and all of a sudden not either you lose interest or you find कुछ
you make excuses.
or I'll do it later on. It's just something that कुछ पूरा नहीं होता. You start it off, but what makes you do that as something on a deeper level, and people find themselves like, I'm hopeless, I'm useless, and मेरे को कुछ होता नहीं हैगा, and they lose their confidence, self-esteem. And so this is where we did that coaching thing on our show. Remember, I was trying to be the coach, and you were trying to be on the client, and you had the issue that you couldn't
go to the gym,
and you couldn't lose weight, and then we realized it's something that you learned when you were young as well, that that you felt like I'm not important, I have to be there for everybody else, that you wanted to do something for yourself, you wanted to play football and all that sort of stuff, and you thought, well, no, I have to put my needs later on, and I have to make sure I'm there for everybody else. If I'm not there for everybody else, I'm not going to be loved and respected back. So we don't know what is it on a deeper subconscious level that actually makes runs the show and makes it behave and in that certain way.
So I think that's where it's important that you sit and you think be idda mena kaate hundi kaate nahi main chaਹੁੰਦੀ to do whatever
complete
it is.
Something
kuch finish karna, what is affecting my confidence. Kadi jehdi ikke kadam chukna just to do the one thing, maybe get the support from anybody, coaches, friends, family, just to make that first step, and slowly things can start to get better.
And it's not just with like health or anything. It could be just in relationships as well. Some people find that they procrastinate, and sometimes they get close in a relationship, all of a sudden they find themselves going distance. So it's a fear they're connecting as well. So
scared of it.
You're scared of There's something there when they were young. Probably they felt like no matter how much they try, they're not going to be loved back, or something like that. That could be playing on a subconscious level. So sometimes they're procrastinating, actually going out and making an effort to engage in a relationship on a deeper level. As soon as they know it's getting deep, they sort of back off. And
I think procrastination ਉਹਦਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਆ ਕਿ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਬੈਠ ਕੇ ਸੋਚੋ ਵੀ ਆਹ ਕੰਮ ਮੇਰੇ ਤੋਂ ਕਰਦੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਪੂਰਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ. What is actually happening? And that's the hardest part, because we do things that stop us from thinking. Matlab, we'll go out with our friends, we'll stay on our phone, maybe have a drink, watch TV, anything that will stop us from actually focusing on what we're procrastinating about. So it's important to get past that uncomfortable feeling. That je tonu nahi bhi tusi kar sakte kalle, try and get some support from somewhere. That's really, really important.
So that's the healing in that. Get the support, take one step at a time, and really just sit down thinking, if I did actually complete this thing, just ask yourself,
or what's the worst thing that could happen?
That's it, So the next one was anger, gussa.
Sanu pata gussa ta sanu sare aunda hai. Some people manage to kind of really stay calm all the time, but and I always use the analogy of the swan. What's the swan in Punjabi?
I don't know.
But anyway, a swan. So the swan is going nicely across the river, but underneath it's paddling away like this. So that's where there's panic and stress, and
so looks nice and calm.
We all manage to stay quite calm. Ghar de members nu pata hunda vi kede ko kidda gussa aya. So we can all relate to that. But again, it's we're trying to we've got to allow those feelings of anger and honor them, but in a safe place.
Because holding the anger in, like I said, but we did that muscle testing, all the time, you know, helps. It really badly affects our mental health, our, you know, just physical health, and even spirituality. So it's very important to acknowledge, understand, and actually be okay with the anger. Don't even judge it to be wrong, and actually become friends with it and say, look, before I used to really judge you that I shouldn't be feeling your sensation of anger, but actually allow myself to sit with the anger and say, okay, what is this? Because underneath the anger, when you actually allow yourself to sit with it and feel it, you see that it's another name for anger is crying out for love. It's crying out for love, but it doesn't know how. It's probably a young child doesn't know, because probably in an environment where love wasn't expressed like a normal way, like hugs and things, you know, through words and sweet words. So it doesn't know how to express love, but the anger is probably just feeling like it's just a cry out for love.
And I think you're so right about that, because even as adults, jida ਅਸੀਂ ਸਿਆਣੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਆ, ਅਸੀਂ ਗੁੱਸਾ ਹਰੇਕ ਦਾ, you know, ਕੋਈ ਵੀ ਚੀਜ਼ ਆ, we can get angry, but ਅਸੀਂ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਅਸਲੀ ਗੱਲ ਆ ਉਹ ਨਹੀਂ ਦੱਸਣੀ. We're not going to say ਮੈਂ ਹਨਾ upset ਕਰਕੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਮਿਲ ਨਹੀਂ ਆਏ. ਅਸੀਂ we're just going to show anger, ਹਨਾ. ਤਾਂ ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਕਈ ਵਾਰੀ ਕੋਈ ਗੱਲ ਕਰੂਗਾ, you know, ਤੈਨੂੰ ਕਿੱਥੋਂ ਟਾਈਮ ਮਿਲ ਗਿਆ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਮਿਲਣ ਨੂੰ, rather than saying I missed you, you know, I'm so happy that you're here. So there's two different ways of receiving somebody, but underneath all of that, dokya ke haan bhi main tene miss kita, par ਏਦਾਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਸਾਡੇ ਤੋਂ ਕਹਿ ਹੋਣਾ, ਅਸੀਂ ਗੁੱਸਾ ਦਿਖਾ ਦੇਣਾ ਆ, but underneath we do want
love,
that care, attention, the love, the compassion, all the kind, nice things, but it's so easy to be angry with somebody. So it's really important because we recognize where the anger is coming from.
But it's interesting because we tend to be angry, gusse, with the people that are closest to us. Because the
we actually love.
You love them, but you don't have to express love to people you are very close to, because something you learned that, you know, people you're close to, you can be truthful with your emotions. But like you said, like this one thing, Bajaki probably showing that I'm the kindest, calmest person, but the people that you truly live with, you can show anger to them. But sometimes afterwards, that is it's not healthy, it's dangerous.
It can be quite toxic.
Very toxic.
You know, ਕਰਕੇ ਜਿੱਥੋਂ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਵੀ ਬਿਮਾਰੀਆਂ ਆ, you know, the negative kind of emotions, they all come from, you know, things like anger, you know, they comes from stress, you know, everything we're feeling but we're not willing to talk about. So stress is something that we kind of hold on to because we don't feel like we can talk about it to whoever it is that's affecting our physical and mental health. So it's important to have these conversations with whoever it is, whether it's your family, you know, your friends, your work employees, you know, that this whatever's happening is affecting you, and that does take courage, but it definitely works. And I always used to say, you know, I've always said this from a very long time, that I'm a Sikh and I'm proud of my religion, and it doesn't matter what religion you come from, and that gives me the strength to actually tackle things and confront things that maybe other people would just allow. That's really nice. And thinking, you know, I'm not allowing somebody to treat me this way, when our gurus went through so much, you know, they had to give up so much for our religion, so I'm not going to be somebody that just lies down and accepts whatever. So that's where I get my strength from, if that helps anybody.
I'm sure it will. And like I said, the healing part of this is like, next time you feel pata todi aadat habit hai to completely react and in anger. So, and now you understand all these negative energies, emotions of anger and bitterness and jealousy, all this has an impact on our physiology. Now thonu pata hega. So let's find a way that next time you feel a situation, gussa aoga, instead of reacting means we'll say something quickly, or we shout, or we snap, or we walk out, or we slam the door, or we break something. Instead of doing that, find yourself, just step away from that situation this time, because my physiology, my health is very important to me now because this comes under self-love, self-respect, self-respect, self-acceptance, that I'm not going to react to this situation now. I'm actually going to step away from it, and what's coming up for me, what is this feeling, this tightness, this rage, whatever, and allow yourself actually, and just say, this is me, the inner child in me that's just crying out for love, this bachcha in me, it just wants to be loved. So instead of me reacting out there, I'm just going to hold this anger in for a moment and just give my attention and just give it love and kindness, and process it in that way. And just to see holi realize that for gussa na the end you katti jaogi to the point that all of a sudden you feel like, oh, that thing that caused me to go angry, ਉਹਦਾ ਕੋਈ ਮਤਲਬ meaning ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗੀ, ਗੱਲ ਵੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੀਗੀ, and it doesn't mean anything to me. So this is the way we can heal the anger issue. Next time you feel it's coming up again, keep kari jao, it will be built like a strength, a muscle, है ना?
ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਹੁਣ ਡਾਫ ਨੇ ਕਿਹਾ, ਜਦੋਂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਗੁੱਸਾ ਆਉਂਦਾ ਥੋੜਾ ਜਿਹਾ ਥੋੜ੍ਹੇ ਜਿਹੇ ਪਛਾਣ ਹੋ ਕੇ ਠੰਡੇ ਹੋ ਕੇ ਫਿਰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਗੱਲ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਕਈ ਵਾਰੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਜਦੋਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਗੁੱਸੇ ਚ ਬੋਲਦੇ ਕਈ ਕੁਛ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਹਿ ਸਕਦੇ ਆ ਪਰ ਤਾਂ ਉਹਦਾ ਨੁਕਸਾਨ ਵੀ ਨਾਲ ਹੀ ਹੋ ਸਕਦਾ। ਸੋ ਇਟਸ ਬੈਟਰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਥੋੜ੍ਹੇ ਜਿਹੇ ਪਛਾਣ ਹਟ ਕੇ have a think, calm down, look at what the situation is, ਤਾਂ ਫਿਰ ਤੁਸੀਂ respond ਕਰਿਓ। So I love that. There's two words, ਇੱਕ ਤਾਂ ਹੁੰਦਾ react ਤਾਂ ਇੱਕ ਹੁੰਦਾ respond. If you react, ਉਹਦਾ ਮਤਲਬ ਉਸੇ ਵੇਲੇ ਜਵਾਬ ਦੇਣਾ। Respond ਦਾ ਮਤਲਬ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਵੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸੋਚ ਸਮਝ ਕੇ ਸਾਰਾ situation ਦੇਖ ਕੇ ਤਾਂ ਫਿਰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਜਵਾਬ ਦੇਣਾ ਆ। So the respond is always better. But ਕਈ ਵਾਰੀ ਸਾਡੀਆਂ ਹੈਬਿਟਾਂ ਹੁੰਦੀਆਂ ਵੀ ਜੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਸਿਆਣੇ ਆ ਕਿ ਜੋ ਕੁਛ ਮੈਂ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਮੈਂ ਸਹੀ ਆ, I'm not willing to listen to somebody who's younger, that's not a good thing. So sometimes ਪਤਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਏਜ ਕੀ ਆ, ਅਸੀਂ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਤੋਂ ਕੁਛ ਨਾ ਕੁਛ ਸਿੱਖ ਸਕਦੇ ਆ।
I mean, everybody, I'm sure you have memories, you have ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਕੋਲ got some memories that when we have been so angry and then you think back later on thinking it wasn't even such an issue. Maina gussa kitho aaya? Where's this all coming from? Sometimes all this gussa is something that we've been holding on to, and sometimes it just explodes at the wrong time.
But it just means you're unhappy about the situation, and ਕਈ ਵਾਰੀ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਵੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਫਲਾਣੇ ਨੂੰ ਦੱਸੀਏ। ਕਈ ਵਾਰੀ you don't even have to tell them, but ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਆਪ ਨੂੰ you can say to yourself, like that hapana that you talk about, what's
it's a Hawaiian sort of mantra that just say, what is it in me, what is a memory or story am I holding on to that I created this situation, because everything's our responsibility. In the world is not out there to get us. We created it because some belief we have that I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough. So that person will behave in such a way to validate your belief that you're not good enough. So it's fair sanu gussa char janda, but the problem is,
and what's the mantra that
is I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you, I thank you, and saying this mantra over and over again. So whatever that memory, that energy, that blockage, it starts to clear. Safai hon lag jandi, like there's a purification hon lag jandi. The more we say this mantra, I'm sorry, please forgive me, so I'm saying sorry to myself, I'm forgiving myself, I'm loving you myself, and I'm saying thank you because something in me that created this situation in the first place.
ਨਾਲੇ ਕਈ ਵਾਰੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਸੋਚਦੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗੇ ਵੀ if I've said something to you in an angry way, you're definitely going to respond back in an angry way. That's somebody who responds in a really calm way, that's a completely different level. But generally speaking, ਜੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਗੁੱਸੇ 'ਚ ਕਿਸੇ ਨੂੰ ਬੋਲੂਗੇ, we will get worse back.
But then we have to be aware that one has to stop the loop, the cycle.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying, that you have to be aware that if I say something in this way, 9 times out of 10 I'm going to get the same back, and then nobody's a winner. We're all losers.
We'll just
it's
continue.
Just continuous. So we start here and then it'll just get higher and higher, and who knows where that could end. So it's better to, if you've got something that you're angry about, think about it in a calm way and approach it in the right way. Anyway, the last topic that we've got is the spirituality one, and that's both of our favourites because we love talking about anything that's to do with spirituality.
And we gave this, it was last week, so the last episode we did, and it's about switching on aspect of like energy and frequency, who we are to our core essence. So the healing comes in here, that once we decide and we take the decision that I want to know who I am at my core essence, मैं कौन मेरी असलियत किया, and that's I'm the essence of God. That's the energy of peace, love, harmony, unconditional love, you know, forgiveness, abundance, and this is who I am, you know. And then when you start developing that relationship and focusing on that, giving that your undivided attention, you find healing happening in all areas in your life.
Yeah, and I think that's where, you know, when we talk about spirituality, and that kind of goes hand in hand with meditation, that no matter what, time just to connect with yourself, which is what we're saying, you know, लिखा या भी हर एक दे विच रब दा रूप या, you know, but sometimes we're just so busy out in the external world doing this and this. सारे को some time 10 मिनट नहीं कई बारी सानू मिलदे कि जिथे we can just sit and remember God, and slowly you find everything just calms down and your day just goes so beautifully well. I know that's my own experience of spirituality, and I could read spiritual stuff all day long, but I think the main thing is that you sit with yourself. Yeah,
sit with yourself, because it's only you here anyway, in the sense of that everything outside is just a mirror. And when if you know that this energy, this spirituality we was talking about on the frequency level, that this energy, this life force is everywhere. There's no place where this energy doesn't exist. So the problems are to the person who spoke to us in a very inappropriate way, you know, our health issues, energy exists everywhere. So if this same energy is in me and exists in all my problems and all my challenges, then why am I hating this and why am I judging this? Because this energy is God, and God is love, and this love is in that same person who I think is causing me a lot of grief.
Hard. That is difficult, you know, to see that in other people. But we do say, you know, God is in everything and everyone. And sometimes the person that you dislike the most is the person that is teaching you the most.
Your greatest teacher,
And I find that, I mean, I always think, you know, this is the person that I need to learn from. If I can love this person, then my life would be just so much easier. But that is the challenge, you know, not looking at the person, but looking behind what's actually really going on. And that's the hardest part in spirituality. Because what they say is, if you're a real spiritual person, spend a week with your family, and then you'll know
what true spiritually was.
How really spiritual.
That's when you really find out. But I think, like you said, that going back to the healing bit again, once you start you make yourself the #1 priority in your relationship with yourself. So you start having kind of compassionate words to yourself, that I am love, I am compassionate, I am good enough, I am capable, I am, you know, intelligent, I am kind, and you start having that relationship with yourself, because whatever relationship you have with yourself, that's how you perceive it. Because whatever you perceive anything now, that's showing you the relationship you have with yourself. So if you want to heal all your relationships outside of you, not just with people, but with money, with career, everything, then you start building that relationship with yourself, that I am compassionate, I am kind, I respect myself, I honor myself, and that be your mantra all days. And you look at yourself in the mirror and just say, you know, thank you, you know, I respect you, I honor you. And every time you're doing something and, you know, you haven't finished it, do it with love, but you celebrate it, you know, and give yourself good praises, acknowledge yourself as, you know, you're good enough, you don't need to try harder, this is enough for you. And speak to yourself like you're speaking to someone you really love. This is a bachche nu tarifa denya, sisa denya, usi aap namne do, because all relation to aap dena na oi vithonu bari this is a healing.
And the funny thing is, the funny thing is, when you say all these things to yourself, have a look at how you feel, because when you're saying all these kind things, you just feel so good, don't you think?
Oh yes,
you know,
and that feeling.
If you say to yourself, "Oh, I'm useless, I'm this," you know, that's going to make you feel down. And whereas if you say kind and loving things, like, I think I'm really funny.
That's the best healing. Really she's my best healing for me, because they're one-liners, and she makes me laugh so much.
You know, if whatever your qualities are, celebrate those qualities. You know, you might be having a bad day and you think, you know, I'm rubbish at everything and that, but you have got qualities, and you need to focus on those qualities, and slowly you'll realize you've got so many more. But anyway, we're coming towards the end, and we've got this healing quote. Healing does not mean that damage never existed. I know we said this earlier. It means that damage no longer controls your life. So you know, going forward, focus on the healing, and you know, whatever it was that you've been through, what have you learned from it? You know, no matter what you've been through, you will have learned something. And if you haven't learned something from it, you will find that those same issues will keep coming up in your life until you do learn whatever you're meant to learn in order to grow as a person. And then that was the last part, wasn't it? Every thought,
every action is your choice. At the end of the day, you know, it's our life, our situation, experiences we have, it's our responsibility. And we can't put blame on anyone else, because we're choosing what we want to believe about ourselves, about others, the world, you know. So, and if you don't like, you say what's happening in your life out there, then change the story in here, let go of your old story, old memories, and write a new chapter in your life. You're the director, you're the author of your life, and let's write a story that you can enjoy the rest of your life and have more fun and joy and make it more pleasing and more loving and kindness and forgiving and
fun and humor and joy. So all of these things, you know, just decide, well, you know, if you've been feeling low or down in the dumps for, you know, because something's happened and you feel like you can't move on from it, yes, obviously, if you need to get help, then get the help, but otherwise, you know, make a concerted effort into changing what you can in terms of healing.
And really hope that our program pasand hai. We had so much fun, enjoy kita, and we continue to give you plenty more new shows to listen to and watch us, and please call us the studio if anything you want us to share.
So take care, and we look forward to seeing you again very soon on our Love, Laugh and Live show. Bye.